city of the unwritten. A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy 1 Million Cups Wednesday and happy St. Patrick's Day. Good to see everybody here today. Nice crowd this morning. Awesome to see some familiar faces. And it looks like we have some new folks here today, too. How many first-timers here this morning? A few? Okay, great. Awesome to have you here. Mostly our speakers, which is good. we'll hope you'll be back. My name's Tyler. I'm with CTB at the Ideas Center. I'll be your MC this morning. As always, we like seeing that Bismarck video. I don't know if we saw there was can't remember what website it was, but they were ranking the happiest cities in America. And in the top 3 were both Bismarck and Fargo, which says a lot for North Dakota. In the loop on what's happening at 1 Million Cups here in Bismarck and Mandan. So please download that app if you haven't already. We need to say special thanks to our sponsors. So these folks help us pay for the coffee, help us rent the facility here. We want to give a shout out this morning to our newest sponsor, National Day Calendar. They've come on board as a community member. Our friend Marlo Anderson, our rest of the friends of the National Day Calendar. Thank you, Marlo. Today, National Day Calendar says today is National Corned Beef and Hash Day, not surprisingly on St. Patrick's Day, but it's also National SBDC Day. So we have a packed program for you this morning. We're going to hear a little bit about the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers in North Dakota, and we're going to hear from a couple of their clients that have been helped by them and have opened businesses in the last 5 to 10 years here in Bismarck, Mandan. Appropriately, SBDC colors are green as well, so that fit. We didn't plan that; it just happened that way. And also, one of our presenters owns Bennigan's in Mandan, and Bennigan's is Irish American cuisine. So we're on brand this morning. It's great. All right, so what is 1 Million Cups? Why do we do this? So 1MC is a free weekly program, gives local business owners, entrepreneurs, nonprofit founders, folks trying to do good things in our community, an opportunity to get on stage, talk about the opportunity they're pursuing, the vision for it, where they see it going, and discuss what their biggest challenges are. Ultimately, we want to try to help them refine their idea and connect them to resources, whether that be professional service providers like accountants or marketing professionals, or in a lot of cases, other entrepreneurs that have already been down that path and gone that journey. The question we're asking every week is, can we change the face of our startup community here in Bismarck and Mandan by connecting local entrepreneurs over 1 million cups of coffee? This is year 8, year 7, year 8. I think it's year 7. I think this is our 8th year with 1 million cups in Bismarck and Mandan, so I don't think we're to 1 million cups yet, but we're on our way. All right, so after we hear from our presenters this morning, we'll have a Q&A session. We'll have Evan running the mic, and our mic is this big 1 Million Cups mug, so you get to ask your question out of this mug. If you're on our live stream this morning and part of our virtual audience, please put those questions in the chat on the Facebook stream, and we have Kirsten on social media this morning. She'll be asking those questions for you. All right, first up, some community announcements. I think we have a few this morning. First, we have update from our public health department that they are now serving Tier 1C with the vaccine clinic. So Phase 1C is that list on the far right. If you haven't checked this lately and you are in one of those groups or categorized in one of those groups, you have access to that vaccine. So please check the Public Health Department website and get yourself vaccinated if you can. All right, we have an announcement from BNCs. Mark's here. What's that?
We're going to do announcements from the other side today. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Mingy from BNC National Bank, and 5 years ago we opened up our Sunrise branch, and we're going to have a community get-together tomorrow, 4:30 to 7. Sunrise is up there by G. Willikers. I think you guys all know where that is. So come join us to celebrate 5 great years up at Sunrise. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. What else? Our friends at the Women's Business Center. If Kirsten's going to make this one.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for watching 1 Million Cups and coming in person. It's so good to see you guys. Okay, so the 25th and the 26th, we've got programs going on. The 25th is our Leading Ladies Luncheon. There's only one more day to get your tickets, so grab that, bring a friend, come on down. We're going to have a luncheon interview of 5 women who are making an impact in the history of our state, and just talk about the great things that they've done and the ways that they've gotten through their challenges. Every year it's very inspirational. We're very proud of them. Okay, and then Core Women is coming up. It's a networking opportunity for women. Again, bring a friend and come on down to the Paddle Trap in Mandan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Hi, 2021 Mandan Business Pitch Challenge. So this is year 3 that the city of Mandan has put this Business Pitch Challenge on. They ask newer businesses to apply, and 4 finalists are chosen from that pool of applicants. They put together a pitch which they will present on March 24th to a group of expert panelists. That panel will decide who the winner of this business pitch competition is. They get a really nice prize package. One of the pieces in that is a $10,000 forgivable loan from the Mandan Growth Fund. So if you like hearing about businesses like we all do in this room, this would be another great event for you to get to. You can register by March 19th, cityofmandan.com/register, or just Google it. March 24th at the Baymont. Doors open at 5, I believe, and pitches start at 6. So please check that out and support our friends in Mandan if you can. All right, here is our friends at the Downtowners. So Don, Madison, and Kate have Bismarck entered in this Strong Towns competition. So this is a national organization that does a March Madness bracket every year for communities. All right, so we're entered in this. I can't remember how we've done in years past, but I think we had a pretty strong showing. This week, we're up against Elkhart, Indiana. So Bismarck versus Elkhart. We have to go to www.strongtowns.org and vote for Bismarck, okay? We already know we're the second happiest city community in the country, all right? I don't think Elkhart knows what they're dealing with. So please go on strongtowns.org, vote for Bismarck, and let's see if we can advance in this March Madness tournament here. All right, so without further ado, I think we'll announce this morning's speakers. So we are packed this morning. We have 3 speakers. We have John Diem from the Dickinson SBDC. John was battling some icy roads this morning, so you might have saw him walk in just as we were getting started here. But John's going to tell us a little bit about what the small business development centers in North Dakota do for us for our entrepreneurial ecosystem. So let's give a warm welcome to John Diem.
Good morning. I'm John Diem. I like Tyler said, I just drove in from Dickinson, and so I'm honored to join you. This is my first 1 Million Cups, and the reading and preparing for it. It's a really cool idea. So I hope to either come back or propagate the idea where I am in the western part of the state. May I ask how many people, get a show of hands, are familiar with the SBDC, just so I'm not repeating things you already know. So I'd say a good heavy third, maybe half. So great, and like Tyler said, today is National SBDC Day. And again, thanks for having us. And I should mention, they brought me here from Dickinson to fill in the lady that's been taking care of it for the last couple of decades, Nancy, just came off of some medical leave and immediately put in for her retirement. So she's transitioning out of this position. We don't know who the next person locally will be, but it's been very well represented, and they always put high quality staff in this position. So what is SBDC? It stands for the Small Business Development Center, and among other things, we're here to support. So I don't want to take up too much time because you're here to meet with the entrepreneurs who are actually starting the small businesses, but we like to be quietly in the background helping those folks get started. So we have a specialized group of expertise. We're 9 centers across the state in the major towns, Dickinson being one of the smaller ones where we are represented. And so through that network, individually, we help with a broad group of topics to the entrepreneur, the person starting the business, or the group starting the business. But individually, again, across the state with that network, we have different strengths ranging from marketing to really strong analytics, market data, feasibility, things like that. So, like I just said, the feasibility analysis, startup logistics, business plan development. One of our primary and our gold features is running the financials, doing the pro formas. So, among other things, as you're seeking that startup capital, whether it's through grants or loans, helping you develop that business plan and get those numbers in place so that it's a strong proposition to present to whoever the funding source is. And even if you're not presenting it to a funding source and you have enough money on your own or capital, just to make sure you're not missing any gaps in that entire business plan. So not only for startups, but for existing businesses. So when you're ready to make the next step, go bigger, go larger, we can help with that as well. So that's not as much, but it's certainly a big part of what we do. And then transitioning out when you're currently, if you're getting towards the end of this phase and you want to pass it along to the next, to a purchasing group or another individual, we can help with that transition as well. Again, collecting that information, put it in a concise form, whether going for financing or simply proving the point and the business plan. Our timing and the skill sets that we represent are very timely. I feel like we're at the tip of the spear in many ways as we navigate through this pandemic and the challenges and the fallout therein. So our 4 R's is recovery, reopen, reinvent, and be resilient. We can be your source on many of the funding sources coming through the federal government as well as the state government opportunities through commerce. So we've heard of the PPP and EIDL loans and HERD grants and whatnot. We're a great source to help point a person in the right direction. You won't sit down and do the applications. We're not the funding source, but we're knowledgeable on where to go to get the information and to prepare and get that support. So again, a third of the room, it looks like, has some experience or knowledge of us. We ask that you spread the word that we're out there. We're a free, confidential service. It blows my mind. Before I came on board, I didn't know about the SBDC. And we could think of it almost as an incubator insofar as people come in with their new idea. Some are tire kicking, some are ready to rock and roll and really jump into it. Anything from a single MAPA, very small operation, to multi-million-dollar heavy lifts moving forward. So it's an exciting position. I love it. It's pretty wild, the people I get to meet, the ideas, the creativity, the resilience in our western part of the state with the struggles, again, for the last 12 months now with the pandemic and watching how people are pivoting and adjusting. It's been really, we shouldn't be surprised, right? Living here in the prairies where 30 below zero, you want to talk about resilience. So it goes beyond our tough skin and our ability to handle the ice and the cold, to maintain a vibrant business community and keep that balance sheet right. It's been really fun, frankly, to watch the creativity in the difficult times and what's come out of it and how we've changed obviously we've gotten used to the Zoom, but the DoorDash and some of the different restaurant ideas that are now taking off and actually thriving when they're saying we're going to shutter the doors. So to watch how we've pivoted, adjusted, and adapted so quickly is pretty wild, frankly. This is our contact information. I would put up on there the local contact, but we don't know yet who that will be at the end of the month, but know that you'll be served well. And in the meantime, the lead center is based down of Grand Forks, and they literally do the call handling. So simply visit our website, and you'll be directed to a center closest to you, and so there will be no gaps in the service to your area. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for John. Thank you, John. All right, our next speaker is the owner of Bennigan's in Mandan. So Mandan Bennigan's just celebrated their 3rd birthday, I believe, or close to it. August we will. Yeah, we got Rob Knoll from the Mandan Bennigan's. Here you go, Rob.
Okay, I'm a male. We can't do 2 things at once, so we'll see how this works. But it is a remote, so I should be kind of comfortable. First of all, happy St. Patty's Day. And in 6 months, it'll be Monte Cristo Day, which is one of our biggest celebrated sandwiches at Bennigan's. And happy SBDC Day. My name is Rob Knoll. Like I said, I'm one of the co-owners of Mandan. Our other owner, Bennigan's, and the other owner is Monty Stein. I'm going to talk about why we opened a restaurant in Mandan, why we picked Bennigan's, and why a franchise, and some of the challenges we have facing. But why Mandan? First of all, at the time there were no full-service franchise restaurants in Mandan. Community survey after community survey was one of the top requests for the city. The city did a demand analysis and showed that about $10 million of lost restaurant revenue was leaving the city. And so that kind of proof alone that there was a market and a need. And we also had a site that we kind of located that we thought was a real good site off the interstate. One of the few things that Bennigan's required was right off the interstate. We're maybe a block and a half off, but that was as close as we could get. And then lastly, the incentive programs. Obviously, you don't chase money, you chase a market need, but the incentive programs were something that was very important to us. Being first is, sometimes is riskier, and so this helped reduce some of the risk. We had a tax rebate and interest rate buy down, and the city was fantastic to work with. Again, we're off Interstate 94, this site. It's a great location. It's across from the only middle school in the city where football games are played in the fall on Saturdays, and activities are going on throughout the day and throughout the year even. It's a mile within, 80% of all employees are within a mile of Mandan. We have major employers within, real close, NISC, Cloverdale, the refinery, clinics, HIT Incorporated is just kitty corner from us. All major employers are in that area. And north is where Mandan probably is going to grow, north and south. There's rumors, and that's why I put question mark, that may be where the future high school goes if it's approved next month. You'd think my big ears would hold this, but I'm not going to go through this, but basically this was for Bennigan's. They wanted to see that that there was disposable income within the community to support. Why a franchise and why Bennigan's? Well, brand recognition. Bennigan's is an iconic brand, and its food is iconic. It's Monte Cristo, it's ribs, potato soup, death by chocolate. people remember that from the 70s, 80s. Little history of Bennigan's. It was one of the first franchise sit-down type restaurants established in '76, and then they went bankrupt, I don't know, about 15 years ago. And now it's on its resurgence. But people remember, when we were training in the Illinois restaurant, we were right off the interstate, and almost daily, somebody would be driving down that interstate and see on their Google map Bennigan's, and they're like, oh my gosh, I thought Bennigan's was gone. And they'd stop, and they'd get 3 or 4 Monte Cristos or whatever it is, and they were just so happy to know that they were coming back. With franchise came operational resources, basically plug and play. They have their supplier set, they have, the prototype is set as a building, contracts are negotiated, all that kind of stuff. In an independent restaurant, you have to have your menu together, you have to have everything in place, and this was just basically an easier process. And what we liked about Bennigan's is their menu is a proven menu, like I said, iconic food items made from scratch. About 90% of our food is made from scratch. Our croutons, our ranch dressing, you don't see that in a lot of restaurants. It costs us a lot more as far as labor, but that's very, very important to Bennigan's. And in peer support, we have other Bennigan's to talk to. What works for them, what promotions are they doing that we can copy. And training. When you open a restaurant, you get 1, 2, 3 times before you make mistakes, they're not going to come back, right? Well, if you're trained right in the beginning, you're going to do a lot better. And as owners, we were there 2 weeks, but our 3 managers were there for 3 months training in Illinois. They were very, very, very picky about that. They learned everything you can imagine. And they were very happy to be back, but it worked out pretty good. Like I said, suppliers, things are negotiated. You get more bulk type pricing when you're a franchise. You have a marketing team to help you out with promotions. And you have an online ordering system. This was particularly important during COVID when it started. You saw that franchises were easier to adapt with their online ordering than more independent restaurants. And then success rate. I've read things differently that, our independent restaurants, are they more apt to go under, or success rate higher with franchises? Typically they are, because it's a proven model, right? It's a proven market. I'm not going to go through these, but basically, if you want local control, don't be a franchise. And, we want to add a menu item. We have to send the recipe to Dallas. They make it, and they decide whether we can serve it or not, or they'll change it or whatever. I'm going to skip that one as well. And for time basically initial responsibility of franchise, you're lower, independent. You have to come up with all your plan, your menu, how you're going to, your processes, your systems, everything. Creative control, franchisee, you really don't have any. Bennigan's is a little bit better because they're smaller, so you get a little bit more control. Again, why Bennigan's? I told you about brand reputation. Franchise fees were very reasonable at $50,000. It's a proven menu, like I said, made from scratch food. And the ownership, we know the owners of Bennigan's. Bennigan's, when it was in bankruptcy, they hired a guy named Paul Mangiamelli to bring it out of bankruptcy. And he fell in love with the company, and him and his wife, Gwen, bought it. Well, Gwen's from Mandan. Gwen graduated a year before me. She's a really good friend of my sister-in-law's. They grew up across the street. Gwen's mom taught my son kindergarten. Our dog impregnated their dog. I mean, so it goes there's everything there, So we felt very comfortable with them. It's true. Of course, our dog impregnated almost every dog in town, but so we also like the mission of Bennigan's. Bennigan offers more generous pours and portions, and it goes beyond the call of duty to deliver legendary experiences to every guest, every meal, every day. One of the biggest complaints we got when we first opened was our portions were too large. Like, what? Take it home then. Hello. But we have an older clientele too, more than most places, so I think that was part of it. Some pictures of our food, and I'll show you a couple more close up in our drinks. We have like I said, signature items that people remember. Our burger, for instance, just last week, I think the guy was from Florida. He posted on Facebook, of all the places in the world I've been, this is the best burger I've ever eaten in my life in Mandan, North Dakota. And our burgers are really good. They're really fatty, so they're they're really good. A lot of grease. Like again, I talk about generous portions, value priced. And our drinks, we have a couple that work out of our Dallas office, married couple, and they spend their weekends and evenings mixing up different cocktails and trying to come up with some different drinks, and they do some really, really creative things and very tasty. Not that I've drank any of them before, but I've heard that. This is a picture of our building. This is the first prototype from new construction. You see on the right, that little part after the sign, that's our patio room, we call it. It has 3 garage doors, and I'll show you that. But you can see a little bit there. But this is our grand opening. We actually had the Mandan High School band march up the street around the building to welcome us to the community. So that was pretty dang cool. Somebody has a cast. That's me. I broke my hand right before, but I did put it in green. I did get a green cast. If you see the pictures on the right, that's our patio room. Rented for parties, Christmas parties, things like that. The garage doors open. There's screens that bring the outdoor in, and then that door on the end is now an outdoor patio, thanks to HERG or I don't remember which one, grant from the state. This is a picture of our Monte Cristo. See the portion size of that? That is a dessert in a meal. It is so tasty, but you can feel your arteries clogging as you eat it, but it's so dang good. You have to have one. You really have to try it. Ours is the best. And then this is our Big Irish. It's a double stack burger with a big steak knife through it. You can get any of our burgers in the Big Irish form. It's SBDC day, right? Since Nancy is retiring, I don't have to really kiss butt. So, no, she was fantastic to work with. She was brutally honest sometimes, which we needed, right? We all think this is going to work fantastically and be so easy, and it isn't. And she was, I think I made her do 10 projection, made her do them, and we laughed about it. But she had historical costs of restaurants that, that were helpful. She had, other things that she, we're missing this, or we got that too high, or we have that too low. So that was very, very helpful. And we were pretty good on the sales projections. But hey, we opened 2.5 years ago. We had 6 months of fantastic way over projections, and then highway construction for 7 months. And then we had 3 months of good, starting to get back up, and then this COVID thing happened. I don't know if you've heard about it. It hasn't been in the news very much, but so what are our future and our challenges? COVID. And what is it going to do? Is it going to, are habits going to change? These businesses going to bring everybody back? Are people going to work from home? How's that going to affect lunch? How is it going to affect catering? Is there pent-up demand and we're going to just see people eating out for, unbelievably for a while? All these things affect our projections. But our biggest challenge is workforce. We hire somebody last Friday, supposed to start, didn't show up. No call, no nothing. That happens every single day. We cannot find workers. It's just unbelievable. And the people that just don't show up. Call at least, right? But that's probably our biggest challenge that we have today, is finding somebody. And I don't blame some of the, for servers, think about it. They make tips, right? money on their tips. That's where they make most of their money. Well, business, our business was down to 65% for most of the year. It's now maybe about 80%. But so they weren't getting the money, and so they left the business to find something else because they got to make money, they got to pay their bills, got to support their family. And then again, I'll just end it with a picture of Bennigan's.
Good work, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and our last speaker of the morning is Sheyna Stroh-Wiesenberger. So Sheyna is an HR consultant, and she's going to be telling us about Stroh & Associates. So let's hear it for Sheyna.
Thank you. All right, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to 1 Million Cups. I am guilty of never being here again, but I promise I will return. As you all know who you have been entrepreneurs, or it gets busy, and I try to do my best, but I definitely think this is a great venue to connect with fellow entrepreneurs. Just wanted to talk a little bit about how the SBA helped me when I founded Stroh & Associates almost 10 years ago. I'm so remiss to hear that Nancy is retiring. She was instrumental in getting me started. I had a robust background in not only human resources, but had been the head account executive at Blue Cross Blue Shield for several years and was looking to instill a more competitive marketplace for not only health insurance, but dental, vision, life insurance, and then ultimately expand those services into HR and compliance consulting. So in the sense of time, I am going to try to quickly breeze through this in less than 8 minutes so that we have the opportunity for questions and answers. So what do we do? What is employee benefit consulting? So rather than having an agent or an agency represent a sole proprietary product, we essentially are contracted, licensed, and partner with all registered insurance companies throughout the state of North Dakota, and in several cases, other states. So we currently are founded in Bismarck, North Dakota, and we have card-holding members in capacities nationwide. So we've really expanded and grown over the last handful of years. We have clients that range from the sole entrepreneur just starting a business to customers of over 1,000 employees. So we have a wide range of options, service models, and we just essentially customize them to that employer group's needs. But essentially, by utilizing benefits with benefit consulting, we ensure these employer groups are getting their best bang for their buck, right? So we analyze their health, dental, vision, life insurance, long-term, short disability options. We negotiate, we use market leveraging, we use claims analysis and data. I'm essentially a data geek. I like the data. I like to do the work that essentially, employer groups typically don't want to meddle with. We also provide human resources support. Many of my employer groups mid-market, especially in North Dakota, don't have the resources of an HR team or a legal team to reach out to. My company's grown to the point where we do have an HR back room. We have our own analytics team, our own underwriters, as well as our all-encompassing compliance group. And we continually are keeping our employer groups updated on information that's pertinent to them. Assisting companies ensuring compliance, both from the political spectrum as well as just federal government in general. The Affordable Care Act, Department of Labor, ERISA, EBSA, COBRA, and OSHA. All hot topics, all have high fines if you're not in compliance. We assist our employer groups with that kind of education and resources to keep them abreast of that information. Provide and customize technology-based platform to manage the data and accomplish all of the above. So within the last 4 years, we have the opportunity now to provide an employee benefit-facing web portal that assists our clients in making those elections and keeping their employees educated. This became ever more pertinent during the COVID virus, so rather than having on-site employee engagement sessions, we're pushing out video structures and election opportunities onto their smartphones. So once again, what is benefits plan consulting, right? I thought we just buy health insurance. Well, depending on the size of the group, we can benchmark plan costs, which means essentially we can look at your competitive marketplace. Let's say it's an oil boom. That was our biggest challenge back in the early 2000s was, what is the neighbor doing across the way? Review plan design options. Are you currently in an old grandfathered plan? Do you want to transition to a non-grandfathered plan? Do you want just one plan, or would you like 6 plans? How do you want to structure your employee benefits? What's best for your workforce? Estimate what those renewal costs are. There's nothing more annoying than having someone show up and say, hey, your health insurance is going up, or hey, your dental insurance is going up, and you've got 3 weeks to decide. We do mid-year renewal projections for many of our clients to help them budget, especially if they're on a fixed budget, or maybe they are looking at these PPP grants and so forth. We assist in all of that. And of course, negotiating rates. That's essentially what I founded the company on. There was a market competitive opportunity when Blue Cross Blue Shield was the monopolistic environment, and slowly we started to have a competitive marketplace. The Medica United Healthcares of the world, of course, the Sanford Health Plan was just getting started. We had a competitive marketplace in North Dakota, and I wanted to leverage that for my employer groups. Streamline plan selection for your employees. Once again, utilizing technology to help them make a decision. Maybe it's a tutorial that helps them guide. Maybe it's a live video they can watch with their spouse at home on their time. Whatever we need to do to get that information to your employees in a manner that they can understand. And of course, ensure education and compliance. We want to do our best to make sure that your employees are not only properly educated, but the employer groups are educated and have a forecast of what's heading down the future, especially in our ever-changing legislative environment. Benchmarking. We can benchmark everything from your health plan cost, high claimants, office visits, and do a full-on analysis for employers, especially in that large group market, helping them identify maybe some areas that we can do some plan design changes to hopefully essentially bend the trend and control cost. Compare plans to similar companies. Let me know who your biggest competitor is. I'll let you know what the norms are. We basically work with you as the employer group to find that fine balance between affordability and being a competitive employer. Managing healthcare costs with claims analysis. Once again, I'm not going to touch too much on that. That's the geek stuff that I love to do. But we help identify areas that maybe we can make some tweaks in the plan design to ultimately save money. So once again, we benchmark, we dig deeper, we find those problems, we explore the solutions, and we visit with those solutions, and we make suggestions on how we can implement those solutions, but ultimately, it is a suggestion. And you, as that employer, you are the one who has to make those decisions on what's best for your group. So once again, what makes us unique, and I ask the question a lot, is are you confident that your agent or person that you're partnered with is getting you the very best possible rates? Most of my true competitors represent 1 or 2 companies, and we can clearly say that we represent you. We basically work with all carriers, but our primary objective is to represent you in that negotiations. We have our own underwriters, as I'd mentioned, so we come to the table and we indicate what a fair price for that product should be, and we use that along with the market leveraging to ensure that we get the best cost price for you. We hear a lot that human resources departments or office managers are overwhelmed. If you found that your employer group is in that case, we have the solutions. Everything from training to recruiting assistance, managing healthcare costs. We will help integrate the voluntary benefits into that website platform. We basically streamline, work smarter, not harder. Once again, streamline human resources. We customize the employee web portal so it integrates with your website. Everything is inclusive, everything is streamlined, tracked managed on the back end, reports for everything that you'll need for the federal government. Simplify your open enrollment. Long gone are the days of keeping paper and all that HIPAA data in an office, right? We store and keep everything for you so that once again, if you're ever audited, you have that information, or the employee says, well, I turned that piece of paper in. No, this basically takes care of all those former stresses. And we can also integrate employee benefits education. I mean, employee benefits are one of the largest expenditures for employer groups. And a lot of employer groups don't leverage that power by ensuring that their employees understand what they're receiving or the cost that's entailed. So we really help with that, not only providing preventative service information, but also education on how they can best leverage their benefit structures. Once again, a little bit more on our workplace wellness. Once we identify problems, we essentially can create a wellness platform if the employer group would like to, have participants, incentive programs for their employees. That's been ever popular. And that's just kind of an example of the mobile access. I mean, the world, especially with COVID, has been pushed to a mobile device. It's also helpful in engaging and having that bidirectional communication with those spouses and children. Everything can be stored from your ID card to your benefit platform to, oh, I had a baby, we punch it in our smartphone, it notifies HR, HR gets it, you get the verification that HR has gotten it, it's good to go. Take control compliance. Compliance fines are ever more, and I anticipate moving forward. There's rumors that more and more Department of Labor audits are going to occur. We do mock Department of Labor audits for our clients and continually push out the new compliance updates. Policy form templates. Is your human resource manual updated? Are your policies in compliance with the new verbiage that's allowable? If you don't know, you can essentially access your back-end portal, take a look and get some additional verbiage. Healthcare reform calculators. That was very popular when the ACA first rolled out. We are still using it primarily for applicable large employer group questions. I get the calls a lot, hey, I own this company, this company, this company, this company. Does that make me a large employer? Well, let's plug in the information. Let's plug in all those part-time numbers. Did you remember that the 30-hour work week is what we're measuring it by? Those types of things, right? So we utilize those tools to basically provide the data to the potential client and allow them to make the decision on how they want to move forward. So what makes us different? You could put any insurance agent, any HR consultant up here, and they're going to say, hey, we got great people that work for us. We have great service, industry expertise. I think what really separates us, and we did a large survey, 5,500 employers nationwide. I mean, that's a pretty substantial database. People are starting to expect more, right? So you look at what a large nationwide broker, a Deloitte, Aon, Marsh McLellan offers. You know, what are they doing? They are doing these things. And Stroh & Associates is the only employee benefit brokerage firm that really has encapsulated all of these services. I mean, there's several agents and agencies that do a great job, and there's even other employer benefit brokerage firms that do what we do. However, we feel that we've really taken it to that next level, where when we're out for bid, we're competing with some of those larger entities, and we're winning those opportunities. So we do the legislative updates. We do the HR support. We have the wellness platforms and programs that we can suggest. We do employee communications. We can automate it where it's automatically fed to their smartphone or to their email. And we have all of these amazing resource portals so that your employees, whether it's your HR manager or your office manager, have the proper back-end tools and support they need. We have a hotline that has employment law attorneys ready at hand to help them in any kind of complex situation. We have HR professionals that they can pull for ideas and suggestions. The options and the opportunities that we can provide those employer groups are just essentially limitless. So they asked me to talk about what the next 5 years is. And this basically describes me in a nutshell. For those of you who don't know me very well, I did see a couple people I know. I am massively afraid of heights. I don't like heights. But I do go on the Ferris wheel, and I do go on roller coasters because my kids like it, right? So that's how I feel about the next 5 years. The next 5 years is going to be full of highs and lows. You know, we have things that are thrown at us. We have COVID. We have all these crazy things. But all we can do as entrepreneurs is believe that we're doing the right thing and get on that darn Ferris wheel and take the leap of faith. If you're doing what you're passionate about, if you're doing what you believe in, and you do what you're called to do, your opportunities are limitless. And so please, if you're looking for a resource or you're looking for someone to really assist you, please reach out to the SBDA. Please reach out to the Idea Center. I will share you my phone number. Please reach out to me. being an entrepreneur is like being a part of a family. You may not see each other for 2 to 5 years, but when you get together, you haven't skipped a beat. So for the next 5 years, I think my goal is to not only continue to grow Stroh & Associates, but to hopefully help people like you succeed, because I hope to hear your stories in the next coming years. So once again, that's us, Stroh & Associates. We're here locally, here in Bismarck, North Dakota. My phone number is there. You can also do further research on us, being that we had a limited time at www.strohandassociates.com. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, Sheyna. We'll all get back on stage here for Q&A now.
Thank you. Did you want the remote back?
So Rob and John and Sheyna, if you want to join me on stage,
Okay.
we have a
Oh,
little
thank
time
you.
left for Q&A.
Get a little Stairmaster in. Any certain order that you wanted us?
I'll take the one on the end, if that's
Okay.
good. We have Evan's going to be our mic runner, so if you have a question, please raise your hand, and Evan will ask that question for you. Or Evan will get a mic in your hand, excuse me.
Wouldn't it be more appropriate than a great big mug mic on St. Patrick's Day, right? Come on.
There may or may not be Guinness in there, but... So I'll get us started with some questions. So Rob, it was interesting to me so you had a couple different stakeholders coming together to build your business, right? You have, of course, your ownership group. You have the City of Mandan. Shout out to our friend Ellen Huber and her team at the City of Mandan, by the way. They put together some excellent studies that you used to get your business off the ground. You had the SBDC, which helped out, and then you had Bennigan's as well. Bennigan's corporate giving you franchisee advice. How well did all those different pieces fit together? Were there any tension points as you were trying to get this business off the ground?
Oh, not really. Bennigan's since it was smaller, it was a little easier to work with. And there were other partners, Starian Bank. We also had Lewis and Clark Development Council that helped us quite a bit with some financing and some projections. Tracy Whitney there. It was just actually they were all so helpful. Bank of North Dakota. Everyone was just worked together to make this happen. Ellen was tremendous. Without Ellen, this wouldn't have happened actually. So.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's a good deal of what we do at the Idea Center. We're similar to SBDC, and I think that's at least half of the value we provide is connecting folks to other resources, such as John or Nancy or folks like that. But question for you, Sheyna. So you're an HR consultant and a data geek, which I could geek out on your presentation because I'm kind of a spreadsheet geek as well. But you're an entrepreneur as well, right? So as you've grown Stroh & Associates, who have been your biggest partners, not just from startup, but I'm guessing there's been a couple pivot points as you've rode that roller coaster on, you need to strategize and think bigger picture. So can you talk about that process at all? Who have been your partners and how you've managed that?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm almost envious of you, Rob, in the sense that you had kind of this, strategy ahead of you, and you had plan, and you had partnerships. I was kind of running solo for a long time when I came up with the idea. However, I initially had proposed the idea to the Idea Center, and I was pleasantly surprised. Julie Kunin was working there at the time, and she's like, why hasn't someone done this? I think this is a fabulous idea. So that was kind of the first, hey, I'm not crazy. Before I leave this good job and all my insurance and benefits and leverage my house as collateral, maybe this could work. So I started with the Idea Center, which I think should be everyone's first stop. She was the one who essentially put me in contact then with Nancy at the SBDC, and I cannot sing her praises enough. She was amazing, and to Rob's point, very hard on the data. Unlike a restaurant business where there was existing data, I was in a unique situation that this was truly a new business idea. And especially since North Dakota had historically had 98% participation with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I worked for them. I had the easy job at the time, right? And here we have these other insurance companies now coming and trying to vie for that business and how successful that would be. And I'll be honest with you, before meeting with the SBDC and the Idea Center, I had been turned down by 7 banks. And I had equity in my home. We had good positions. My husband and I had good jobs, but they just really did not believe in me. And it was a combination of the Idea Center and people that worked there that were able to get me an interview. I'm going to give a plug to Starian Bank as well, to, at the time, Tim Karski, who was working there, and he said, I think this is amazing, and I'm prepared to help you get whatever resources you need. I wasn't looking for an inordinate amount of money, but I was planning on starting an office in Dickinson and in Bismarck, as well as taking some of the staff that I had previously worked with, so some salary dollars. And with Nancy's help developing that business plan, those projections take a while to start having a profit and having that cash flow. And so I needed that initial loan to try to help ensure that I'm asking my friends and colleagues to come work for me, that I can deliver on my promise. And so I just, once again, Nancy and the Idea Center definitely gave me the confidence, as well as getting to know other entrepreneurs who had that Ferris wheel feeling, that leap of faith, and knowing that they had done it and that they had developed a company that they felt called to do, passionate about, and had ultimately, too, given them the family life balance that they had wanted. So.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the most common themes we see with successful entrepreneurs is a lot of them have a good, hard technical skill set, but the most common skill set that they have is relationship building and the ability to show up and connect. And I think both of you certainly have that. But I think Cody has a question here.
Sheyna, I just have a quick question. When you were creating, or even currently in your dynamic of your employers or your clients that you work with, do most of them have really large companies? Or do you have anyone that's kind of, singly employed with their position, their organization, or their business, where maybe they're the only ones that are looking for the healthcare plans, or are they usually larger employers who have a lot of employees?
So yeah, our client base ranges from the sole employee of one. Most people don't even realize you can actually get employer group rates if your company is structured a certain way with one employee, right? All the way up to thousands. Now, there's different things we can do as far as data mining due to HIPAA. When I first started my company, we could negotiate small group rates. But essentially, when the ACA came in, the negotiation power got taken away because the federal government came in and started structuring, certain metallic plans and so forth. Now, there's other different options as well. So our true negotiations and some of the things are a little bit more limited, but we still, how we work with our small employer groups is essentially we let them know what the options are every year. We keep them abreast because ultimately, what a lot of people don't realize is every carrier refiles for increases annually, right? And the carriers don't know what each carrier is going to file. Now, in the large group market, we can use more of that benchmarking and data analysis because we can extrapolate the data from the existing carrier, do our own analysis, and then also have those conversations with underwriters and actuaries with the other carriers. And there's always the human factor. Each underwriting entity from every carrier has a different perspective on what that plan's going to cost, and then we bring in our autonomous opinion. But no, my favorite clients, I have clients that start out with 2 people and now have over 150 employees. Now that relationship is so solidified. I am basically a back-end HR support to them, and it gives me just great joy to be able to be a small part of their success. So I actually do really personally, selfishly enjoy kind of just plugging myself in those entrepreneurial moments and then, celebrating those mile markers as they grow.
That's interesting. Healthcare is, like, we can understand supply and demand and typical economics, but then you start talking healthcare costs, insurance, and it's like you're entering this 5th dimension of economics that makes 0 sense. So it's an important service you provide. But,
thank you.
Mark, question here.
Not so much a question, but more of a statement. I've been working in banking for about 9 years, and I can't tell you how many people have come and they've got the passion, they've got the drive to do their business, but they have no clue how to do financials and how to do a business plan. And John and SBDC, I've sent so many people over to Nancy. And if you're interested in pursuing your ideas and you want to go to a bank, the number one thing is you have to have a business plan. And SBDC does such a good job. I interned with the SBDC back in 1993 in Fargo, so they've been around for a long time. They know what they're doing. So just a plug to the entire SBDC crew. If you're an entrepreneur and you want the resources, the best place to start is there because you're not going to get very far. Like like Stroh and Associates did. They didn't get very far until they had the financial data behind them. So just encourage everybody to use the resources. They're free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think the SBDC definitely does, especially with the pro forma, they do a phenomenal job on working out the financial model and the financial projections. But, John, you want to comment on that at all?
Well, thank you. And you're right. It's obvious. It's the financials, those first 7 pages that the banker sits down and takes a look at, but it's backed up by another 20 pages of all the supporting documentation and the projections. But then beyond that, the greater business plan, just for the entrepreneur starting it, is making sure you're not missing any gaps. The HR piece, the marketing piece. I mean, all of these are big topics and can take a lot of time and go really deep into. Like you said, more often than not, there's a person with a passion and technically really solid, but it's a rare bird that gets it all the first time through. I don't think that's really humanly possible to get it all. So to have that, it's a repeatable process, really. It's adaptable, but there's check marks in these processes, and just that's one of the things we can do. We're not experts in all of it either, but we can at least have that conversation of those check marks, those different major categories that you need to be addressing. But thank you for the plug.
All right. Well, I think we ran our Q&A a little short today, but we're up against 10 o'clock, and I'm going to pass it over to Evan for our last question of the morning.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyler, and thank you guys for all being here today. And again, I think we could spend another hour. I've got a lot of questions that I didn't even get to ask. But the last question we always like to ask, and I would like each of you to touch on this, is what can we as the Bismarck Mandan 1 Million Cups community do to support you?
Start that in.
My answer's easy. So I started this venture at the beginning of a market competitive environment for the health world almost 10 years ago. Now that full marketplace is established, we have tons of outside brokers from Salt Lake City to Minneapolis to New York to Chicago coming in because the market's ready to be poached, essentially. So the best way that you can support me and actually even other agents and agencies is to shop local. When I try to look at my Christmas gifts and my birthday gifts, I am very intentional about shopping the boutiques downtown or the mall or resources locally. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that in the business service world as well, that's equitably as important, because ultimately we're your neighbor, we're the person that you see at church. If you can support local, that would be invaluable.
John?
I would ditto that, but more specifically, I think a huge challenge is reaching the audience. And I don't know what the answer is, but as we transition from printed material and we have the age gaps, I'm probably at that end where not as comfortable with the electronics, and I'm not on all the different social platforms. How do we reach the different demographics? And I think that's a huge challenge that lays in front of us. That's one of the questions I'm asked constantly as far as marketing. How do I make people aware that my service exists, whether it's a mechanic shop or a bakery or whatever? How do we reach those people where they are? What is their medium? What are they reading? How are they getting their information? And it's so splintered at this point to have a meaningful marketing campaign is tough, and how to do it. So that's one of the big challenges I see moving forward.
Well, quite honestly, that was what I was going to mention. My daughter said it was sick that I was on Instagram, so she made me get off it. She said I'm way too old for it, But it's what is the newest and best social media platform, and who's where, and what is the best way to advertise. And but I guess, like I said, I mentioned before, our biggest challenge is workforce, and I don't know that there is quite an answer for that, or ways to help. And I guess the other thing is, if you haven't tried Bennigan's, stop in. It's not that far away from Bismarck.
And it's St. Patrick's Day, so it's appropriate today as well.
And there's green beer, yeah.
All right, well, let's hear it for our 3 presenters this morning. Thank you for giving us some time and telling us a bit about your stories today. National SBDC Day. We do have SBDC centers around the state. So Dickinson, Bismarck, Fargo, Grand Forks, Minot, and Keith is in Williston or Watford?
Watford.
And Keith Olson in Watford City. So wherever you're at in the state, there's an SBDC center available to you. So lean on them. It's free. All right, so if you would like to present at 1 Million Cups, go to 1millioncups.com/bizman or present and apply to present. Also, if you know anybody who you think would be has a concept they want to get on stage and pitch, we'd love to have them present here. What's coming up next year at 1 Million Cups? So next week we have a workforce and career path innovation panel. So we'll have a speaker that spoke in 2019, Golden Path Solutions from Fargo, and then some folks from Bismarck Public Schools talking about their innovation pathway program that they've recently launched. After that, March 31st, we'll have some of the Mandan business pitch finalists on stage to give their pitch for 1 Million Cups community. And then on April 7th, we will get an update from our Bisman Community Food Co-op just down the street here. So that is all we have this morning, gang. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Thank you for joining us.